Hi, everyone. How are you? It's Laurie Burke for Backstage magazine. We're going to wait and make sure that everybody can hear me and that this is all operating well. Maybe Katie, who is running this session, can put a little jot in there to say that it's working. Hi. Oh, great. Hi, Jim. Oh, hi, Jim. How are you? That's great. You're hearing me. Thank you so much for getting on and tuning in and taking a break today, right? Let's just take a break from everything and just have some fun and talk about being creative and about voiceover and any questions you guys might have. I know this is a crazy time. I'll just introduce myself a little bit while people kind of make their way in here. My name again is Laurie Burke. I'm a voiceover artist and actress. I also work in casting. I've worked in most of the facets of the entertainment industry in my almost 20 years of experience in front of the camera as well as behind. A lot of voiceover, Google Voice, worked on films, worked on commercials, industrials, loop grouping, you name it. I've pretty much dipped my toe into everything, and I'm very happy to be here. And this is why this particular topic that I chose for today, which is about busting out the myths of voiceover, right? There are so many myths. I mean, I was trying to think of, I said, oh, I'll do 5. Do you know how many I can think of? I mean, off the top of my head, I thought of so many. And just even in the world right now, we're kind of, I don't know about you, but we're all kind of confused about what's the truth and what's not. And we're all kind of confused. So I thought, well, this is a great time to kind of say, ask me a question. I'm more than happy to tell you straight up what the answer is to it. I picked the 5 top ones, but I could talk about this forever. So we're just going to make this really concise. And I'll just try to hit the ones hopefully that you're thinking of as well. The first major myth that I get, or I'm going to say question or whatever, is they think someone might say, I really want to do voiceover. I love the whole acting aspect of it. I love being creative, but my voice isn't good, or my voice is this, or my voice is that, or I have a sibilant S, or I, fill in the blanks, right? And I'm here to tell you, it doesn't matter. Everyone has a good voice, right? I hate it when people say a good or a bad voice. There is a voice for every story, and that's your job. Your job is to deliver the story, right? Your job is, when they hire you, to get their message across, the message of whoever is creating this commercial or the audiobook that you're doing, or whatever it is that you're doing in the voiceover field. That is that's your job. So it's not for you to really judge whether your voice is right for that, right? You just be you. Learn how to use your voice is a better way to do it. Because I pretty much have an answer to any sort of weird thing that's going on that you're not liking in your voice that you can do. There's always a trick. There's always some other way to approach something. If you're getting, let's say you are into voiceover right now, and and you're doing a lot of plosives, so your P's are going like that. I've made many videos on this. You could check out on my website or YouTube or virtualvoiceover.com. And one of the tricks is like, okay, just put a pencil in front of it, right? That'll block some of the air. These are things that you learn, right? That's just one thing, let's say. So if anybody says my S's, well, not only are there different techniques you could use, but there's also a lot of different little add-ons and plugins that you can use in your recording studio that can help you with that if you're delivering it to an end an end user, to your customer. It's funny. On the other end of this spectrum of this myth are people that come in and they say, oh, voiceover is just so easy. I'm going to do voiceover because I want to work in my pajamas. And I want to, it's just easy. I have a voice. Anyone can do it. Right? Okay. Well, you know what? I have legs and I can walk and I can run, but that doesn't mean I could be an Olympic marathon runner. Right? Or, if you say, it's like somebody saying, I think I'm going to be a quarterback. I think I'm going to be a quarterback for the Super Bowl. Really? Okay. So you play a lot of football. You've studied that a lot. No, I just, I like football and I just think I'd be really good. Right? It's ludicrous when we think about things like this. I think anything that you really want to excel at is worth studying, or at least learning more about. I think there's definitely, I think you should have a passion for it. And I don't think you should be afraid to go into this field, but I think that you should also give it the respect that it deserves. It's a creative art. It's like an actor. I know there's a lot of actors on here, right? That watch Backstage and that will watch this even later and see this, that can relate to that whole thing of like, some people just think it's, oh, well, I mean, you're acting, you're just getting up and you're talking in front of a camera. And then when they go to do it, it's like, I just had this, one of my students did this yesterday. She was doing it on camera, and it was her very first on camera. And she said, they gave me an umbrella to open and I couldn't open it. And they and then the lights were hot and this and that. And I said, yeah, you just have to keep practicing and do it. But there's a real skill to this. And it's really something, I can go on about this because it's so dear to my heart, the respect for voiceover actors. And again, it's like acting in like any other creative profession, and something that you really, really want to do well at. So you want to study it and you want to have that. So don't be cocky is what I'm saying. Don't think that, I'm going to be great. I have this great thing and I could voice, learn how to do it. And please give the respect that it deserves. The number two thing is, what, I don't live in a major market, so that's why I'm not booking, or I don't live in a major market, so that's why I'm not doing this. Look, right now, especially now, there's no excuse. You can work from anywhere, right? You can work from anywhere. I'm in LA, but you don't have to be in LA. And I built most of my career in San Francisco, right? Still a major city, but really not LA, right? So with voiceover, the thing is that's different from on camera is that we're all working virtually, right? So we're working, that's how virtual voiceover, my company was born, right? I've been doing virtual voiceover forever. I mean, since I started for Google and for all these major tech companies, I built my own studio and did it from home, okay? And so you can work from anywhere. So don't let it stop you that you're in a tiny town somewhere, right? If you can learn how to use your voice correctly and how to be a good voiceover artist as far as run a business and also be reliable, and there's a bunch of things that go into that, then you'll be fine from wherever you're at, okay? That brings me to number three. A lot of people, the myth is, oh, it's too much tech, right? Or the home studio is going to be too expensive and I don't want to invest in it or whatever. Well, if you don't want to invest in it, that's your prerogative. To me, if you want to do something really well, then you invest in it. You invest in yourself and you invest in your the things that will help you do your best job. That being said, I've done many videos. You can check it on YouTube, on my YouTube channel, or on any of my websites. That will tell you, you don't have to have that much money to start. Put your money into learning how to do it, learning your voices, learning the best way that you operate, right? And the best way that will get you, more people interested in working with you. And basically that's doing a good job, right? And really, really knowing your stuff, right? And so you don't need a lot of money. There are a lot of starting out mics. Once you get better, you just invest in more and bigger mics, because if you really start liking this and it becomes your profession, you're going to be like me probably and just be like this junkie, this like kind of studio nerd that's like, oh my God, this great plugin just came in. And if you don't know what a plugin is, that's okay. Or this great microphone, or whatever, because we keep changing, right? You got to keep on top of the industry, and we keep getting new and new, better things to make our profession easier for us, or to make us sound better, or I know the things in my voice and what I might need in a microphone. So don't be afraid of that. And the tech will come. A lot of my students, gosh, they struggle with that so much, right? And they're learning a new thing. Some people, they're new to, I say start on GarageBand if you have a Mac, right? I happen to love that. I started on GarageBand and I worked it for many, many years. And I moved up to Logic, which is basically the same thing, but more fancy. So, start where you're at and don't get intimidated by it. And I keep saying this keeps coming up in many videos because it never seems to go away. When I'm mentoring somebody or I'm coaching somebody, they're still kind of get in their head about, oh, this is just so hard. It's not. It's a skill that you're learning. And if you feel overwhelmed, that's great. That means you're learning something new, right? You're learning something new. So that's a myth that that it's difficult and that you need to set up this elaborate thing. Start where you're at, develop your voice, get comfortable with yourself, and really be happy that you get to do this in a creative field, right? And that we get to do this from home, and even more now than ever, right? So that brings me to the next one, which is it's all who you know, right? A lot of actors have heard that too. Well, it's all who you know. Once you get in the inner circle, or that everything, comes in from that everybody that works, they're all the same people, they're same inner circle. Let me tell you, that could not be further than the truth, especially right now. And here's a good, as a matter of fact, sometimes it can work against you. And here's a good little story, I think, that will exemplify that. I worked in casting, and we were in San Francisco, so a lot of us, it's a smaller market, and if you really, you have to really work to work there. You know what I mean? Like, you have to really love what you do to work there. It's a smaller market. If you're good, you'll work forever. If you're not good, you'll never work again, because everybody knows each other, right? But a lot of big Silicon Valley jobs, a lot of big, this is on air as well as voiceover, a lot of big, commercials there, a lot of big companies there, banks, things like that. At one time or another, all of us that were these people that did this full time came on that list of overexposed. And what I mean by that, when I worked in casting, I remember not that long ago, one of my friends, he just kept coming in for the usual commercials that we would call him in for, and they wouldn't hire him. Not that he wasn't good, not that he wasn't probably the best or one of the best or, whatever, but that he was overexposed. There was too many things that he was in. It was too familiar. Right? So if you're doing a commercial and you're making a commercial, and this goes for voiceover as well, you don't want the same voice. You want to hear the voice that everybody else has heard everywhere. You want something fresh. So for all you people that are kind of just starting out, think about that. You're the something fresh. Okay? Your voice is new. Your voice is going to be, something that they haven't heard before, right? Especially if you're just getting in it. This also goes to say why you should study and learn different voices and learn different acting techniques with it. Learn different ways of producing a different sound, a different vibe. Because luckily, that in voiceover, we have that advantage over on camera, right? There's just so much you can change your look at and still be, that's such a big decision to change your hair. Your hair color, to cut your hair, In voiceover, we get the advantage of just doing all these different voices and constantly learning. So whatever you're doing, I hope you're studying and learning more and more about your voice and about different things you can do, because that never ends, you guys. And the more you get into this industry, the more excited you're going to be about that fact. Okay. So don't think that it's all just said and done. Now, another great thing that I wanted to point out in that it's all who you know is it's like kindergarten, right? I know that when I first started my career, I didn't know anybody. You're on a set, you don't know anybody. Well, after a while, maybe I did a good job and they said, we're going to hire her again, right? Or I remember some of the, I remember when I was on Chance, they hired me, that was on Hulu. They hired me, they told me, oh, we hired you because you came in for this audition, last time, but you weren't old enough for it, which was nice of them to say. But we thought, that's a good actress. We're going to bring her back. And they brought me back and I got it. What a great thing to know, right? They didn't know me at first, but after they got to know me and I came in again and again, and maybe they found out more, whatever experience I had, then they got to know me and then they wanted to work with me. It's the same thing with voiceover, right? When they find you, especially if you have your own, clientele, which is what I teach and what I coach, is to have your own business, your own virtual voiceover business. They get to know you and they go, oh, Laurie can do that. Oh yeah, that's great. Let's say it's a tech company or something like that. So you get ongoing business that way and they'll come back to you again and again. So I think I'm kind of overdoing that, but I just don't want you to be intimidated to think that. Okay. Because it's not all celebrities. Everybody thinks it's all celebrities are doing. Hey, listen, voiceover's everywhere. Anytime you hear a voice, somebody's doing it. So it might as well be you. That's what I always say. Anyway, the next one and the final one that I was going to talk about, because I think this is a big one that goes over and over again, is their age. I'm too old to get into this. I'm too old to to start doing this, right? There are some major actors. I'm going to say actors because of we're on Backstage. I know a lot of you are actors that that have started over 40, right? I mean, Morgan Freeman, who else? Kathy Bates, Lucille Ball. I mean, maybe they didn't start over 40, but they definitely didn't they didn't get their big break until then. I mean, Dame Judi Dench, was big in the UK, but her first, like when she became big here, she was 61 in the US. I mean, let's think about that, right? The saying I have on all my websites is, it's never too old to be what you might have been, or something like that. I have to look that up, but it's by George Eliot. It's a great quote. You're never too old to be what you might have been. That's what it is. Anyway, and I think that that's true. I got to start later in life, and I mean, later in life, to some people's opinion. And I just worked, and I thought, well, you know what? I'm going to do this. I'm going to do a good job. I want to be a working actor. I want to be a working voiceover artist, and just build your reputation of being good and delivering good materials. I studied, of course, in all of the disciplines first, and so I had a very good, solid foundation and confidence about myself. And as time went on, I just kept building that over and over again, and how to work with people and be directed and have the respect. And there's so many more of these, but I want to take some questions. So hopefully that will cover some of the myths that some of you have. And I'll read a few in here. If you guys have questions, just pop them in the chat. And we'll go at hearing you loud and clear. Kazoom, thank you. You say study and learn. Expand on that, please. How do you study and learn voiceover? Coach Dave, thank you for that question. Okay, so first of all, we're always learning, right? So when I say that, I mean, we're always learning in life, but we're always learning for voiceover as well, because new things come up and new trends come up, right? At one point, there was the trend, for voiceover it was like a Volkswagen ads, I think, that had it. This is many years ago. And it was like, everything was kind of crackly. And I mean, it was so annoying to me anyway. And before that, it was the announcer and everybody talked like this and everything was big, right? So you have to study those trends and then learn how to do those, right? Or learn what's in and what's maybe being asked, and really keep up on that, right? I say also, I've said it so many times, just like me, I learned voiceover, right? I might have a naturally, maybe a pleasing voice, maybe a lower voice, maybe a lower register, but I learned how to use my voice into different ways. And I learned the art of voiceover. Okay. And so I studied. And then I learned as I went, on, new things that were coming up. Right. And then I, would just keep kind of taking that in and keep learning from it. Right. You learn something new. If you don't get a part, or you don't get hired, or if somebody gives you feedback on something, it's very easy to knock yourself. But instead, if you look at it like, okay, what have I learned from that? Okay. Who's doing what I want to do? And how did they do it? Learn from those people, the people that are actually working, that have worked at this and have done this, and then model yourself after them. Ask them questions or study with them, I guess, would be the thing. So that's it. And Jim, if I'm recording an audition and the sides have a second character, what do I do if I have no one to read with me when I audition? Should I have silence in place of the other character lines? Jim, that's a great question. And I get that a lot as well. When you're, if it's in acting on air, then you usually have a reader, right? So I think you're just talking about voiceover. Typically in voiceover, you only read your lines, typically, unless they specify that there's, you should do the second character as well. Okay. So if you want to do that, and it depends on where you see that from, and if you really want to go crazy, or you think, yeah, I'll give it a try. I'll do both voices as long as they're both very distinct. I mean, you can do that. Typically when I get auditions, and this is from agents and things like that, it's only the character that you're doing. Okay. So unless you're auditioning for both characters, it doesn't matter. Have you heard of Peter Bakoff? He's a voiceover actor too. You know what? I would try to pronounce your name. Thank you for the question. I'm going to call you KK, if that's okay. I have not, but I'm sure he's probably a very well-known working voiceover, actor. What's so funny in voiceover is a lot of us don't know each other because we're in our little booth. I'm creating a course soon, virtual voiceover. And it's going to be one of my things is I want to bring people together and kind of bring more of a community so that we're all kind of in this together and talking with each other and kind of maybe sharing things. So, but anyway, but I'm sure that doesn't mean anything that I haven't worked with him or heard of him because, the circles are so ingrained. Let's see. I was lucky enough to work with NFL Film for a Car Sense radio spot. This is from Michelle. I was a bride saying, I do, to marry my new car. So fun. Thank you. Should I get a website to market if find an agent? Okay, so Michelle, I'm assuming you don't have an agent yet? I'm going to say, right? You did a spot. And so now you're wondering if you should get an agent and a website. Should I get a website to market to find it? You don't have an agent, right? She said no. So I think so. Okay. So here's the thing. If it's voiceover, yes. Oh, Michelle, wait, do you have an agent? Yes, no, yes, no. Sorry. Well, right. No, yes, right. Okay. So I'm going to say she doesn't have an agent, but she did a spot. She's wondering if she should have a website for it. I think that's what you were saying. Yeah. Well, I'll go on that. You could write it maybe a little bit more and let me know. If you no agent. Okay, great. Okay. So, what I say about websites and things like that, yes, anything that you do, you should share, right? You don't have an agent, right? You should be able to share it with somebody. And it's great when you could say, hey, listen, go check out like I always go to laurieburke.com, right? Or go to virtualvoiceover.com. That way it's so easy. They can look at the things I've done, right? And then on there, you can have your spots, right? I think it's always a good idea to have a website. Always. It's like our calling card now. It's like how business cards used to be. So if you do have that spot, that's great. You have to build up a little bit more to usually to get an agent. However, just keep working. I say this in voiceover too, on camera and voiceover. Keep working and building up your reel, building up your experiences so that you can show them a lot of the things that you can do. Okay, I hope that helps. And then you kind of then you can pitch an agent, right? Sometimes agents, depending on where you live, I don't know where you live, but some agents, they want you to make sure you did something. And if you don't have something that you can show them, at least show them who you've studied with and what you've done and have a reel and have, show them what you can do. Okay. So, and it used to be where you would go in, I remember auditioning with monologues, but I do stage too. So, and just doing that, and the agent said, yeah, okay, that's great. But we had to actually go into the agency. Now, of course, everything's done virtually. So you could kind of luck out there. Do I need a separate agent to do voiceover and another one to do regular acting? Caitlin, that's such a great question. In San Francisco and smaller markets, they're usually all in one. Okay. We don't typically have separate. I worked a lot in San Francisco, so we don't typically have separate voiceover agencies for voiceover and for on camera. They're usually all umbrellaed into one agency. So that's going to be dictated into where you live. I don't know where you live and how small the community is. I know that in Los Angeles, we have different agents for everything. It's like different agents. I liken it to like tipping everybody on your way into a hotel, right? This guy carried my bags. This guy showed me to my room. This person did, whatever room service. I mean, this is, or whatever it is that you're going to tip for. But that's kind of how it works in Los Angeles, right? And a lot of the major markets have different ones for that. But if you're in a smaller market, a lot of times the agency will be all under one umbrella. Okay, so I hope that answered most of your questions. My time is almost up here. If you've got anything else to say, go ahead and put that in there. If you would like to know more about me or ask more questions or whatever, please go to my YouTube channel, go to my website, laurieburke.com or virtualvoiceover.com and get on a list. I'm going to be launching a course pretty soon. And it will be all about voiceover and learning and blah, 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 and all that stuff. But anyway, my major thing. Oh, hi. Oh, sorry. Just got one more question. But Michelle, thank you for the roses. And Jim, thank you for thanking me. Namar, hi, I'm just starting out and just got a voiceover agent and they have said I need better equipment. What mic do you recommend for someone starting out? Narmar, what I'd love you to do is I did a whole video on microphones. Go to my YouTube. It should be on there. And I did a whole video on that. And I actually named it, and I have, links and all that stuff of like where you're starting out microphones and the equipment that you need. So that should be, I think Katie usually puts it underneath this video. So you can just go there and ask questions there and all that stuff too. So I hope that all helped. But most importantly, I want you all to have a beautiful day. And I hope this was just a little tiny bit of a distraction from everything else that's going on, this crazy world right now. Just remember to keep creating. And I think that if you're creative every day, you're happy every day, right? Keep talking, keep acting, keep doing voiceover, keep doing everything that really makes you happy. Okay. So thanks, you guys. Until next time, take care.